She said, "I'm allergic to cheap dates. Step up or step aside." So I stepped aside and let her watch me dine at every restaurant she could only dream of. When she first said it, I thought she was joking. We were sitting in this cozy cafe near her apartment, the kind of place with chipped mugs, fairy lights, and the smell of burnt espresso beans that I loved. The bill came to $24. She glanced at it, laughed under her breath, and said, "You know, I'm allergic to cheap dates. Step up or step aside." I smiled, thinking she was teasing, but her expression didn't change. The next week, she texted me a list of nice date ideas. No joke, it was an actual list. Rooftop bars, designer brunch spots, spa weekends, private wine tastings, a sushi place that charged $200 per person. I scrolled through it with this dull ache in my chest, realizing she wasn't half kidding. She was dead serious. The thing is, I could afford it. I had a decent job, savings, no major debt. But something about the way she said it, that tone of entitlement, that expectation that my affection had a price tag, it sat wrong with me. Dates weren't supposed to be transactions. Still, I tried to meet her halfway. We went to a couple of pricier spots. I picked up the tab, smiled, and pretended it didn't sting when she called the waiter sweetheart or scrolled through her phone the entire evening. Once, she even posted a photo with the caption, "When your man finally learns what romantic means," smiling face with hard eyes sparkles. That word, finally, hit harder than I expected. Then came the turning point. It was our 6-month anniversary, and I'd planned something simple: a walk through the botanical gardens, a picnic, homemade pasta salad, her favorite pastries. She showed up in heels, took one look at the blanket on the grass, and said, "Seriously? You couldn't even make a reservation somewhere?" I laughed, mostly because I couldn't believe she was serious. She wasn't laughing. She left 10 minutes later, muttering something about me not being ambitious enough. That night, I sat alone in my car, watching the city lights blur through the windshield, and felt this calm come over me. Not anger, not heartbreak, just clarity. If she wanted expensive dates, fine, but I wouldn't be the one paying for them anymore. After that night in the car, something inside me shifted. Not in a dramatic, "I'll show her" kind of way. More like the quiet realization that I'd been living small to fit inside her idea of what a worthy man looked like. So I stopped texting first, stopped asking when we'd see each other, stopped apologizing for not being enough. A week later, she called. "So, are you done being moody?" Her tone had that mix of irritation and smugness, like she expected me to cave and beg her to come back. I didn't. I just said, "No worries, you made your point. I'll step aside." She laughed, actually laughed. "You're so dramatic. Anyway, I'm going out with the girls tonight. Try not to overthink things, okay?" That was the last call I took from her. The next few weeks were strange, quiet, freeing, almost too peaceful. I started doing the things I'd always put off. Booked a solo table at that Michelin star restaurant she always scrolled past on TikTok, tried their tasting menu, and ordered wine I couldn't pronounce. The host smiled and asked, "Will someone be joining you?" I grinned. "No, just me. And I hear I'm great company." That dinner changed everything. I realized I didn't need someone to justify enjoying life. So I kept going, booked a trip to Barcelona, stayed in a seaside boutique hotel, took a cooking class, and posted photos like I was my own travel blogger. Not petty, not targeted, just me living, breathing, finally being. Then came the ripple effect. It started small, a like on an old photo. Then two. Then three. Then a DM. "Wow, you're really living it up. Who's taking your photos?" Winking face. I didn't reply. Didn't block her either. I wanted her to see. To realize that the cheap date guy she mocked had become the man she used to brag she wanted. By the time I got back home, my feed was full of new faces, new friends from the trip, moments captured under Golden City lights, laughter that wasn't forced. People noticed. Even my coworkers started saying things like, "Dude, you look happier." What changed? Everything. One Friday night, I went to a new restaurant that had just opened downtown, another one she'd once mentioned as her dream date spot. I didn't plan it to be symbolic. It just happened. But fate, apparently, has a cruel sense of humor. Because halfway through my meal, I heard a familiar laugh from behind me. That laugh, the one that used to make me melt and now made my jaw tighten. She was there, with someone else, dressed to impress, smiling that same performative smile she used to practice in the mirror. Her new man looked uneasy, like he was already paying for something he didn't order. She saw me. Her eyes widened, first with shock, then curiosity, then something else. She looked at the table. White tablecloth, wine glass, single seat, plate of perfectly arranged food, my calm smile. I raised my glass politely. Her expression faltered. She whispered something to the guy next to her, but he just shrugged. That night, I posted a photo from my dinner, just the plate, the glass, the view, with the caption, "Sometimes, peace costs less than love." She saw it within minutes. I knew because she unliked all my older posts. 2 days later, I got a message. "Can we talk? I think I made a mistake." I didn't respond. Not out of spite. Just because for once, I didn't feel the need to explain myself. Update 1.it had been 2 months since the restaurant encounter. 2 months of quiet mornings, long runs, and a calm mind that didn't depend on someone else's validation. Then one night, as I was finishing a new recipe, homemade risotto, something I'd never dared to cook before, my phone buzzed. Her name. I stared at the screen for a full minute before picking up. "Hey, it's been a while," she said softly. "Yeah," I replied, keeping my tone even. "You look good. I've seen your photos. Traveling, trying new things. I'm proud of you," she added. Proud. That word hit me in a strange way, like she was talking to a kid who finally learned to tie his shoes. "Thanks," I said. "Life's good." "Listen," her voice trailed off. "I've been thinking a lot about us. About how things ended. I didn't mean to sound like I was ungrateful." I stayed silent. She hated silence. She used to say it made her anxious. "I was stupid, okay? I pushed you away because I thought you weren't ambitious enough. But seeing you now, the restaurants, the trips, I realize I was wrong. You just needed someone to believe in you." That line almost made me laugh. Someone to believe in me. I believed in her so much I'd forgotten to believe in myself. "You didn't believe in me," I said quietly. "You believed in an idea of me. The version that looked good next to you." "That's not fair," she shot back. "I was just trying to motivate you." I exhaled slowly. "You don't motivate someone by belittling them." Silence again. Only the faint sound of her breathing through the line. "Can we meet?" she asked suddenly. "Just dinner. My treat this time." "I don't think that's a good idea," I replied. "Please. Just to talk. As friends." I should have said no. But part of me, the curious, calm part, wanted closure. We met at one of the restaurants she used to call too expensive for casual dates. She arrived in a dress that probably cost more than my first car, wearing that same calculated perfume I once loved. "You look incredible," she said, sitting down. "Thanks. You too." I answered, and meant it, but only as an observation, not admiration. The waiter came. She ordered a cocktail, the usual, like she owned the place. I ordered water. "So," she began, smiling nervously, "I saw your post from the Amalfi trip. Looks like you're doing well." "I am," I said. "Best I've felt in years." "I'm happy for you," she said, playing with her straw. "You deserve it." She hesitated, then leaned forward. "Listen, I know I messed things up. I was selfish, shallow even. But I've grown since then. I've realized money and fancy dates don't mean anything without connection." I raised an eyebrow. "So you've changed?" "Completely," she said quickly. "I've been in therapy, working on myself. I'm not that girl anymore." Her phone buzzed, a message from someone named Tyler Yellowheart. She flipped it over too fast. I didn't say a word. "Anyway," she continued, "I wanted to say I miss you. Not the lifestyle you, the way you made me feel safe." There it was, the line I'd waited to hear once upon a time. But now, it sounded like a song I used to love but had outgrown. "I appreciate that," I said. "But I'm in a good place now. I'm not looking to go back." Her smile faltered. "So that's it," she whispered. "You're just done?" "No," I said gently. "I'm just done being someone's half-choice." She looked away, blinking fast. The cocktail sat untouched. The waiter dropped the check. I slid it toward me. "You don't have to," she began. "I know," I said, placing my card down. "I just prefer paying for peace." That night, as I walked out of the restaurant, I realized something. Closure doesn't come when they apologize. It comes when you don't need the apology anymore. Later that week, I got a text from one of her friends, the same ones who used to mock me for being too boring. "Hey, just wanted to say, you're literally goals now. She talks about you all the time. Regret hits her hard, lol." I just smiled, turned off my phone, and kept cooking dinner, for one. Not bitter, not smug, just peaceful, Final update that it had been nearly 6 months since that awkward dinner. 6 months since I walked out of that restaurant feeling lighter than air, not because I'd won, but because I'd finally stopped playing her game. Life had been quiet, peaceful, and strangely beautiful. No more endless arguments about effort or status. No more walking on eggshells to prove my worth. I'd started my own small catering business. The same cooking she once mocked had turned into something real. People began booking me for private dinners and events. Word spread fast, and before I knew it, I was cooking for people who actually appreciated good food and the heart that went into it. And then one night, as I plated the last course for a client, I received a message from an unknown number. No greeting, no intro. Just, "You look happy. I saw the article about your catering business. Congratulations." It was her. I stared at the screen for a moment. The number wasn't saved anymore, but I knew the rhythm of her words. She always typed like she was trying to sound casual while hiding emotion. I didn't reply. Instead, I muted the conversation and went back to cleaning the kitchen. A week later, I was invited to a private event downtown, a small business gala featuring local entrepreneurs. I almost didn't go, but one of my clients insisted, saying my name had been mentioned as a local success story. The venue was elegant, glass walls, soft jazz, the smell of expensive champagne. I was talking with a few people about expanding my business when I heard it, her laugh. That same, unmistakable laugh that used to fill my apartment on Saturday mornings. I turned around. There she was, standing by the bar, wearing a deep red dress, holding a glass of wine like it was part of her identity. She looked the same, but not really. There was something hollow behind her eyes. When she saw me, she froze mid-laugh. Her friends turned to look too. She smiled after a beat, that fake, practiced smile that used to melt tension. "Wow," she said, walking up to me. "You look incredible. You clean up well." "Thanks," I said evenly. "Didn't expect to see you here." "I didn't either," she admitted. "I came with a friend from the firm. She said there'd be good food." She hesitated, then gestured toward the buffet table. "Did you cater this?" "I did." Her face went pale. "You're the chef." "The owner," I corrected gently. For a moment, all the noise around us faded. The woman who once told me my cooking sucked was now standing in front of a full room praising my work. "I didn't know you were doing so well," she said softly. "I mean, I knew you could cook, but this." "Yeah," I said with a small smile. "Guess I just needed someone to believe in me, right?" Her lips parted slightly, as if she wanted to say something. Maybe apologize, maybe rewrite history. But before she could, someone approached. "Hey, babe, they're about to announce your segment," a woman said, placing a hand gently on my arm. It was Sophie, the food blogger who'd first featured my dishes online. She smiled at my ex politely, then turned to me. "You ready?" "Always," I said. I could feel my ex's eyes burning into us as Sophie leaned closer and whispered something about lighting for photos. It wasn't romantic, but it was intimate enough to make the message clear. "So," my ex said finally, forcing a smile. "You're with her now?" "I'm happy now," I replied simply. Her face cracked for just a second before she regained composure. "Good for you," she said quietly. "Really?" But her eyes told a different story. That night, when I got home, I opened my phone. There were 3 missed calls and one long message from her. "I didn't mean to sound jealous. It's just, seeing you succeed without me hurts. I thought we'd grow together. I guess I just didn't know how to love someone the right way back then. I'm happy for you. I really am. You deserve all of it." I read it twice. Then I typed back, "Thank you. I hope you find the peace you were looking for." And that was it. No anger. No closure speech. No lingering what if. Just quiet understanding that sometimes people don't lose you because they didn't care. They lose you because they didn't value you when it mattered. A few months later, Sophie and I were at a small bistro in Paris, the kind of cozy place where you can actually hear each other talk. The waiter set down 2 plates of cocoa vin, and Sophie laughed when I pulled out my phone to take a picture. "Caption it," she asked teasingly. "Hmm," I said, smiling. "How about, some meals are better shared with the right company?" She nodded approvingly. Across the table, I caught my reflection in the glass. Calm, content, free. Somewhere out there, my ex was probably scrolling through social media again. And maybe, just maybe, she'd stop on that photo and realize. She wasn't allergic to cheap dates. She was allergic to humility. And I was never the problem. I was just the lesson. Moral: Never let someone convince you that you're not enough just because they don't know how to appreciate peace. Some people need chaos to feel alive. Others learn that peace is the real luxury.